What's going on, everybody? I'm back, and I got a doozy for today. As some of you may or may not know from a previous video I posted, I purchased a PlayStation 3 recently for the simple fact that I'd always wanted to play this game. Growing up, I was a diehard Metal Gear fan. I loved the original NES game. I loved Metal Gear Solid, loved Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favorite game of all time. A couple years back, I got to play the MSX version of Metal Gear. Got to play Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which is another one of my favorites. But I never did get to play Solid 4 until recently. So at first I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm finally going to play Metal Gear Solid 4. Then I started playing it. And yeah, I realize this review is a couple of years too late, but I can't keep this bottled up inside me. I don't like this game. I know there's going to be some people out there who consider what I just said to be blasphemy, but I have to make my opinion known. I think that they were trying to overdo it when they did Solid 4. To me, Metal Gear, it's really not meant to be in like this urban combat environment. When I was sneaking through Act 1 in the Middle East, I'm like, it just didn't feel like the kind of game that I'd been accustomed to all this time. Yeah, I know they were trying to do something different, trying to do something that they'd never done before. I kind of feel like they were trying to overdo it. The idea of urban combat just, to me, it doesn't fit with the idea of tactical espionage action. Metal Gear Solid 3, it was in an open environment, but it was more like an isolated thing. You know, you're out in the jungle, you gotta use camouflage. And I felt like that game had it easier to hide. Whereas, yeah, you've got camouflage here. You do have ways you can blend in. Maybe I know some people are going to say, oh, you're probably just sucking at the game. And, okay, that's a valid argument because I'm really not doing that good at the game. Throughout Act 1, I got a lot of alerts. I had to kill a lot of guys. That's not stealth. I admit that. But I just kind of feel like the way the game presents itself, maybe it's just me, but I feel like it doesn't even encourage you to use stealth. I feel like this is some sort of glorified third-person shooter I'm playing and not an espionage game. And that's the part that's really getting me. Like, what is this? Especially the idea of having that guy Drebin with the shot. Again, I'll give him credit for giving you something that's unique, that's never been done before. I feel like, okay, it's a whole bunch of guns and items that, quite frankly, I'm never going to use very many of them. If I use maybe 3 or 4 of these guns, it'd be a minor miracle. And there's probably even more that I don't have. I got through Act 1. I stopped playing. Last time I played, I beat Laughing Octopus in Act 2, and I'm at the part where you gotta track Naomi through the jungle. As I was playing through that part, I just turned it off. It didn't hold my attention anymore. I'm like, why am I playing this? I just can't get into this game. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It actually reminds me of, believe it or not, Super Castlevania 4. I know, that game is a classic. I've played that game. I get why everybody thinks it's a great game and why it was one of the best Castlevanias ever. It was very revolutionary. But as I was playing it, I couldn't get into it. I borderline hated it. Especially the final stages. Oh my god, I felt like they've got me caught between a rock and a hard place. That's another rant for another day, but it's probably the only thing I can compare it to. I get why this game is considered a classic. I get why it got such high reviews. But I can understand why people wouldn't like this game. And I'm one of them. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid, one of my favorite series of all time. But as far as the winner and still champion, well, that's Metal Gear Solid 3. I'm Dan, and I'll see you next time.